This is the Real Good Procast with your hosts, Declan DeBarb, Ian Blumenthal, and Marshall Heath.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Good Procast. It's been a tough week for Leafs fans, and I don't know how many of us have been looking forward to this one, but I can say that I am not. Ian Blumenthal.
I'm not having a bad week. We're 2-0 so far since the last podcast.
Okay, Mike.
What?
Okay, Mike Crawford. Come and revitalize the team.
Okay,
Calm down.
It's Mark, but
Is
thanks.
it Mark?
Yeah.
Close enough.
Who cares?
I'm in a state of deep distraught
Why is that, Declan?
because my team sucks.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Listen, my expectations have been low, but holy fuck.
Man, what they've done the past 2 weeks, or week and a bit, it's just, like, not enough.
I don't
do more.
Not enough.
Stop being trash.
I don't think not enough is appropriate at all. It's pathetic. They've been a pathetic hockey team the past couple of weeks.
Except, like, a couple spots of, like, oh, there's Matthews, or oh, there's Marner.
Yeah, but there wasn't a spot in that Ottawa game.
Oh, and I
didn't see it.
I had the deep unfortunate probability of being
I
at that
would've
game. That is not the right words,
I
but you know what?
so wish I was at that game with you. You have no much. You don't know how much I wish I was there.
I'm glad you weren't.
It would be my one bright spot in the year that we traded away Mark Stone, Ryan DeZingle, and Matt Duchene.
For those
we're here to talk about the Leafs.
Aaron
so.
Carlson.
I mean, for those of you who don't know,
Well,
the
technically,
Leafs.
yeah.
Shut up. For those of you who don't know, the Leafs have had one of the worst weeks in their new regime in the last 4 games, if you want to include 5
Man,
with
but it's
Nashville.
not even as bad compared to what they were. like 3 years ago, this would be like a good stretch.
But expectations.
Yeah, expectations completely distorted. They've been outscored 23-15, and when you consider that they scored 7 goals against the
Flyers.
7 goals against the Flyers and 4 goals against the Chicago Blackhawks, that's bad.
Yeah, because that's all of your goals pretty much.
Yep, it's been a week of bad goaltending and a lack of intensity. Nobody seems to be making the right decision.
Players.
Injuries, missing players. Freddie and Sparks haven't been great. It's just been bad. I don't know if there's any other way to describe it. It's been bad.
I don't know what direction you want to go here, but I just want to say, what are your thoughts on what Sparks said after the Ottawa game?
Well, I have that quote. I'm gonna pull it up, but your opinions.
Man, suck my dick, Sparks. You're trash. Like, you're not trash. I like you. You're a good goalie, and I think that you will be an NHL caliber goalie. But right now, you're not playing at an NHL caliber level. Pick it the fuck up, dude.
Do you know how many games he's played?
10?
34.
In
And
the
NHL
Yeah.
games.
Total.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was talking about this year.
No, 34 games total. Don't say that if you've played 34 games total and you're the backup and you just got shelled by the last place team. Like, that's the last play. Like, if you lost like 2-0 and you had like 35 shots.
Yeah, and
say
you were
it.
going hard. Like, you had
Yeah.
a good game.
But-
If you don't have a good game, you don't say shit.
But like, yes, Toronto in front of you did not have a good game, but you also did not have a good game.
If he said something along the lines like, every single person in this dressing room needs to pick it up, myself included, I would have been like, that's a great quote. I agree with you completely. But he didn't say that. He was like, everyone in this room needs to show more emotion. Like, he was clearly not talking about himself.
Yeah.
If I could just interject here, here's the quote. We need more emotion from everybody. We need people to get angry. We need people to stand up and get mad and take it personally.
I think also he said right before that, I'm an emotional guy. So yeah, going back to what you said, he's saying, it's not my fault that we lost tonight. I'm an emotional guy. It's
Yeah,
like,
like, I'm going hard.
these guys were lacking in emotion. And that's not at all the right take on this.
It might not be, but
Especially
I also don't think he's wrong.
No, but
I was at that.
You're not the guy to say it, though.
In public.
He is not
In
the
public.
guy to put that in the media.
Yeah, if he wants to say
anyone's
that-
going to say it, Babcock, Dubas, one of the leaders on the team.
Marlowe.
Riley.
if
someone that, like, shows up every night.
If he wants to say that, say
you
it behind the
include Marlowe?
doors.
No guy who shows
Okay,
up
but
every night.
like an alternate captain or a leader.
Say
in the
that
room.
say that behind closed doors to your teammates in the players only meeting that might happen when they lose another game in a row.
And it wouldn't be your backup goalie saying that. It's either going to be Freddie saying it, Patrick Marleau, maybe Ron Hainsey because he's a vet guy. It's probably John Tavares, Morgan Riley. It's one of the alternates or Ron Hainsey because he's old.
How old? Actually, just a question. How long has Riley been playing?
A long time.
for the
Eight?
Leafs.
Eight
This is
years?
his 8th season with the Leafs, I think.
He got drafted by the Leafs.
Yeah.
It feels like
He's-
forever. I think he's like 24
Like
or 25.
it's both like it's forever, and he's still like young.
Yep.
Like,
I know.
It's
He's still
weird.
one of the young guys.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, I think what Spark said though is not wrong. This team has looked flat. They looked like a team that doesn't have anything in them. They've been outplayed in the first period all season. It's not,
But
and
it doesn't matter.
and that's, but does honestly. But we'll get into that a little bit later. They haven't showed up. They showed up in these games in the third period at the end of the game, and in Chicago, yeah, they mounted the comeback, but who fucking cares? Honestly, who fucking cares
did
about that
they?
game?
In
I honestly will disagree with you completely. I was like, they showed a lot of heart. They had a bad first period. But 5 goals should not have been in the net. We should have won that game.
they showed up in
Out of the 60 minutes, 40 minutes, we were better than the other team, meaning we should have won that game.
They showed up in Chicago. They showed up against Chicago. They showed up against Philly. I don't think you can say they showed up against Ottawa.
No,
Because of the 2 goals, one was from a 5-on-3, and the other was just Austin Matthews being Austin Matthews. So
They showed up against Philly and Chicago, yes, but honestly, at the end of the day,
And they showed up against Nashville.
They were embarrassed. Well, they didn't show up offensively against Nashville, but they were embarrassed in Ottawa. They were embarrassed in Chicago. They were embarrassed in Philadelphia.
I wouldn't say they were embarrassed in Chicago. I think Chicago should have been like, shit, we should have lost this game. We had 30 shots in that third period. They did not have 30 shots in the first period. They should not have scored 5 goals in the first
they
period.
also had a cold goalie go in the third period, though. That's part of the reason why they may have scored.
And also,
I know, I'm
he
just
kicked the
saying.
net off with like 20 seconds
I don't
left.
think it was.
I
I don't think
don't-
it was
we're
intentional.
not-
It wasn't. No, I'm not saying it's intentional.
It
but
should.
I'm just
It
saying,
should have
like,
been a penalty, but you know what?
No. It
That's
should
a-
not be a penalty. If
I-
it's intentional, it's a penalty. If it's not intentional, it's not.
and it was
think-
not. It was not clearly intentional because there was issue. But anyway,
Right.
anyway.
But my point is that the Leafs haven't started well this season. That has been documented. It was a great article earlier this month from Ian Tulloch. I asked you guys to read it. And, I mean, the Leafs have the biggest difference in dangerous scoring chances in the first period. Out of all NHL teams, they have the biggest gulf. And you mentioned the argument that it doesn't matter which period you show up in. It's the result.
Out of the 60
it's
minutes,
the
whatever
resultant
the
at
end
the
of the
day.
game is.
And I don't know.
And
if-
I agree. Ian Tulloch said that in the article, and I completely agree. As much as I see, if you start the game well, you're not playing from behind, which is a huge, huge advantage. But
Leafs are, I think,
when you're playing
4th
from
or
behind,
7th. Leafs are 4th or 7th when.
but if you're playing
overall
from
when they score
behind, it
first.
gives you that desperation. And maybe that means like, let's go, boys. Like, pick it up.
No,
we
but
need to score goals.
When the Leafs score first, I think they're 7th overall in the league.
Yeah, no,
So.
we have so many. When we're leading after 2 periods or score first, like those are the 2 things we are like 20 something.
Maybe
But I mean,
Fourth,
just to
I
finish
don't
my point, and then we'll get on to the debate as to why you guys think that we're not starting on time. I disagree. I think you need to show up from the very start
I
of a
do.
game,
I
and
do
you need to act like a competent team. Because in some first periods this year, they don't look like an NHL team.
You should be there all 60 minutes of the game. I agree with you.
Can I finish my point?
Yeah.
Because you've interrupted me. I think that playing on the back foot only hurts the morale of a team. If you're always playing from behind, you never build that momentum in going from game to game. I think that if you have a bad first period, it can throw your team off. And yes, the Leafs have bounced back great, but what happens when you're playing a team like Boston in the first round, where you go down early on in a game and then they shut up shop and then they don't let you come back into it? It's such. I think controlling a game from the moment, or at least looking competent from the moment of the off, is so important. It's so important.
I'll just maybe before you
Okay,
go
you
into
go,
it,
you
before
go.
you go into it deep, I'll just say I agreed with you until you said it hurts the mentality. Because at the end of the day, I think there's nothing better than a come from behind win for morality. That's A plus. Like, wow, we were down,
Comeback
and then we
kids.
did it,
You know that?
and
When
now
you
we
hear
won.
that.
But
Like,
when it,
that's
but,
just that's what
but when it's over and over and over again that you're having to come
then that
back.
shows that you're resilient, and no matter what is thrown at you, you win. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day,
regardless of
winning
how
matters.
the game starts, whatever the end score, that's what matters. Doesn't matter. If you're looking at a game, and let's say the Leafs won that Chicago game, you'd look back and be like, great resilient win, they killed it.
No, yes, and I've heard that argument brought up, but I mean, we lost, and obviously that's tinting how I see the game. But I look at that first period, and they lost the game in that first period.
Man, but that's not...
They lost the game in the first period.
It
and
was
they-
a lot of unlucky stuff that happened.
But that's what's so frustrating. This team can look like an ECHL team in one period and then look like one of the best teams in the NHL the next period.
Okay.
It is so frustrating, at least from my point of view.
I agree.
That And I mean, I went to an event last night, and I was like, oh, I'll miss the first period. At least I'll see the Leafs be an NHL team when I come home.
Like they were good.
They were.
throughout the game.
I don't disagree. I thought they played pretty well last night defensively. I thought offensively they really had only the one chance. They didn't really
But you're also
trouble
facing
anything.
the best defensive team in the league.
I think it was an improvement. I don't disagree with you. I just think that they so heavily invested in keeping the puck out of the net last night that they allowed the goals to dry up and they lost their magic. But my point is that overall, I think that you do need to put in a full 60. I think that it only helps your team to play every single minute of every single game.
Okay, but my argument coming from the other side for this is, let's say you start the game on time, you're killing it first period, and then you have a trash second period.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying play the full 60 minutes.
But I'm saying it's not more important to start on time than it is to be better than the team for the majority of the game.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm arguing.
One team is going, like, it's going to go back and forth. Games are never going to be, you're always winning the goddamn game. Like, the Leafs are never going to be controlling the game at all times. But in the second period, they've been controlling the game, and in the first period, they have not been controlling the game. And if that's out of the 40 minutes, you get 20 minutes of that, I don't think it's good enough for the Leafs because the Leafs need to be better than that. But I'm saying that out of 60 minutes, they're putting in at least, they need to put in the full 60 to win hockey games, and especially in the playoffs, you need to get all 60 minutes. But I do think that having a slow start, and as much as they're having slow starts, I think there is a decent amount of unluckiness that's going on right now, and there is that factor of like just random stuff happening. Like I remember that the Chicago game, those stupid bounces that kept going around, and then the Philly game, there was still a couple stupid bounces. Nashville game, there weren't many stupid bounces. I didn't see any of the Ottawa. Apparently, we played like trash.
The worst game all season.
So I can't.
I was happy.
I can't really comment.
If I'm happy, it's not good for you guys.
Suck my dick. Like go away. I don't care.
With all due respect.
With all due respect, suck my dick.
Of course.
I hope you're listening again, buddy. And I just think that the Leafs need to show up for 60, but given if you're trying to control a game and you're getting, let's say for a good team, you should have 55% like shots for
share percentage.
Yeah, share percentage. That's what you should have around, I would say, like for an entire 60 minutes. And if throughout those 60 minutes that happens and your first period was trash, but your next two periods were sick, I don't see a huge issue with that, but I don't think it should be a recurring thing. And it has been a recurring thing, but it's been more, but it hasn't been that different from last year, but it's been very different than the rookie year.
Now I agree. Obviously, if the Leafs are going to put in 2 solid 40-minute periods, I would prefer that than them not show up at all. I agree. And that them showing up in the second and third period is very important, and that maybe not one period overall is the issue, but it's the trend that has occurred throughout the entire season. They've been bad all year in the first period, and that's what's worrying. It's not they've had rough first periods in the last couple of stretches. It's that those problems that they've had in the first period have been further exacerbated. Now,
because we're missing Gardner and Dermott right now.
Yes, and I agree, but
would you say it's more injuries and less bad habits then?
I think it's bad habits that have been compounded by injuries. Okay. But I wanted to bring up this argument that I saw in the comments of Ian Tulloch's article that this discussion is being based on.
On The Athletic.
On The Athletic. So the theory is that teams game plan the Leafs. They come in more prepared. They pre-scout, and I think that we see it a lot in the early first minute that teams come in with the preparation to forecheck the Leafs hard. That's something that we noted, that at least I've noticed all season. Teams come out and they play that aggressive forecheck. And I think when we lose players like Dermott and we lose players like Gardner, who are some of the best puck movers, and then you have players like Marinson.
He's injured right now. He's not playing tonight.
Marinson, Hall, Zaitsev takes on a bigger role. Hainsey takes on a bigger role. Those players who are not as good as moving the puck, it only hurts the Leafs' opportunities to win games. And I found that argument very convincing.
Good teams have depth.
Yep.
And if you're gonna have injuries, especially in the playoffs, guys are gonna miss games. Stuff's gonna happen. Kadri missed games when we played against Washington last year. Did anyone miss a game? I don't think on our team. I remember Bergeron missing, and we lost that goddamn
in the playoffs.
Game. Yeah, I don't think anyone missed a game.
Kadri was suspended for 2 seasons.
That's what I mean. Like in the Washington, he missed that a couple games there. I don't.
No. The Kadri suspension was last year against the Bruins.
Yeah,
What?
It was.
because it happened against the Bruins.
Yeah,
No, Kadri's suspension was against Washington when he clipped Ovechkin's knee.
He was he suspended for that?
2 games for that in the
No,
playoffs.
it was hitting from behind on Connor Sheary.
Was it
He was
both
sus-
games?
he was
Was it
definitely-
both?
I know
It
100%.
was definitely Boston.
I am
know-
100% sure about the
It was
Washington.
definitely Boston.
So then it's happening both.
Did,
Okay,
I don't. Did
you
he
guys
get? Did he
argue-
get suspended?
You guys
I can
argue. I'll look it
guarantee-
up.
Can you figure it
I'll
out?
look
I don't
it
think he.
up.
But I know he was suspended last year 100%. Anyways, continue your point.
Man, now I'm lost. I forgot what we were talking about because now I'm invested in this Kadri thing. Where were we again?
Depth.
Okay, yeah. Good teams need depth. Okay, now I remember where I was going. Good teams need depth. Everyone's going to have injuries. Everyone's going to have that. And I think Gardner and Dermott are 2 of our best defensemen, and our defense already is trash depth.
Yep.
And so when you're missing those guys, it
3
really
games against
shows.
Boston.
Okay, then what was it
Did he
again?
get
Okay, well,
suspended against
I
Washington?
just looked up Boston, so let me go back here to 17.
Because remember,
Don't give me half the info.
well,
remember
I'm giving you
Paplanik
when I
got
get
to
it.
move more up further into the
Yeah.
lineup and was a more effective player. Remember?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do remember him getting suspended against Washington. Everyone was like mad as hell.
Did he get 1 game?
I think it was 2. I think it was 2.
I was in Rome for the majority of the Washington series, so I don't remember much.
I
of
was
it.
sitting in Maple Leaf Square when that happened, and Ovechkin went off the ice, and we were sitting there, like, everyone was like, oh no, but then, like, low-key, everyone was like, let's go. Ovechkin's not playing anymore, we could win the series. But then he came back the next period, and I was pissed off.
Did you see what Friedman said today in 31 Thoughts? He quoted Babcock, and Babcock said, "You're supposed to build the best program you can. So ... don't miss people. If you have enough, you don't miss a beat, and you just keep going. The other teams that have done a better job when different players are out than we have in keeping on going."
Man, like, when Tampa, like, had all those injuries last year,
And they just missed the playoffs.
they just missed the playoffs.
There's just this little end.
No, they didn't miss playoffs.
It was the Washington year. It was the Washington year when they were injured to crap and
No, you're right.
and Stammers broke his leg. The quote ends with, "Then that just tells you the state we're in, and we just got to keep adding better players."
No, Tampa didn't miss playoffs. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago when they were injured to shit.
Yeah. Because you said last year, the Washington year. No, you're talking about Washington
when
President's Trophy?
when we played Washington.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah, I
Washington's
don't-
Cup year. That was last year.
I don't think he was
I
suspended.
don't think he was suspended. I think he got
It's
away
not
with
on
it.
Wikipedia, at least.
But just finish your point about depth, Ian. I don't think he was suspended.
I really don't think he was.
I remember being relieved that he did not get suspended.
I looked up Kadri suspension capitals, and everything that's coming up is 2018 Boston. So I really don't think he was suspended in that series. Also, throw back to 2017 was when Montreal.
Okay, Toronto Maple Leafs center Nazem Kadri has been suspended 3 games and 6-game loss to CBC.ca. Boom. There we go. Found it. Oh, this is Boston. Man, it literally said Washington in the thing. And now it's going back.
But throw back to 2 years ago when Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal were all in the playoffs, and Montreal was the A1 in the division. Good times.
Kadri might have missed 1 game. He played 6 games against Washington.
There was 6 games.
So then
Okay,
he didn't
so
miss
he
a single
didn't miss
game.
All right.
Really? I was so sure he got suspended. Maybe it was last year. Man,
Well,
my
it definitely
jumbled.
was last year.
Was
It was
100%
3
last
games.
year.
I thought it was 3 games. Got reduced to 2, but maybe it was all 3.
He only played in 4 of them.
Okay, then yeah. So what are we
Yeah.
talking about? I've been out it for the last 2 minutes, looking up.
We were talking about depth and the Leafs not starting. on
And
time.
the depth on the Leafs on the defensive end is already trash. And when we do miss those guys, it emphasizes how trash our depth is on the defensive end. But we need our trash. We need our trash. I'm saying trash because they're trashed on an NHL level, but they're great players. Marinchen's a great player. Like, they're all. If you play in the NHL, you're a good player.
I don't think you have to justify this.
Yeah.
I think that we come in with the understanding.
Are you getting paid NHL minimum? Yes, you're a 1% player.
Yeah, you're a
More
top
than that. You're
percentile player.
More than that, like more than 1%. So you need to show up to a game, and it doesn't help that Babcock doesn't play them a lot, and he doesn't use our spare pieces, and he doesn't switch out guys often, which I think he should.
I don't
because
wanna-
it would help.
I don't want to change the sport, but this is kind of reminding me because it's March Madness and Duke, where when they have a bunch of injuries, they're SOL because their bench was not good because you didn't play them a lot, and the bench is not recruited there because, well, if you go to Duke, you're not going to play. Same thing in Toronto. If you have a top 4 and they are your top 4 and you don't develop the younger guys, What are you gonna do?
But that's not been the issue. It's been the spare parts.
That's what the issue.
And this is
the
and
issue
this is
the
connecting
backups.
back. And
the
this
issue is the backups.
Yeah, and this is once again connecting back to the issue we talked about last week. If you missed that episode, it was a very good one. I'd go back and listen to it in the back catalog.
Okay, so what are we talking
Gotta
about?
plug.
So what did we talk about
Seb
last
almost
week?
plugged our pod. Sorry, Seb almost plugged our podcast today. We met. We were at Walmart. And we met a Leafs fan, and we were talking about me and this guy were like talking for like 5 minutes about like all this stuff, and Seb was like. He told me he was like, yeah, we have a podcast. He was like gonna say like, yeah,
Why not?
Our podcast. Because I was like, what are you, Declan? Like,
Why do
in
you
your
think?
pod?
Why do you think we don't pay you?
Yeah. What the hell?
You just gotta plug.
I do this out of passion.
But it's been a bad 5 games in Toronto.
Okay, so yeah.
can we
also going back to last podcast? I asked you both how many points would Toronto get in the next couple games, and you
I said 8.
Said 8.
And, that
And
didn't
in the
happen.
Wait,
last
sorry, I missed
So
that.
between between the
over
Chicago,
the place
Philly,
today.
Ottawa, Nashville, and Buffalo game,
Mhm.
Declan said Toronto would get at least 8 points.
No, I said they should get.
they
8
should
points.
get 8 points, and they will get 8 points.
I mean, I stand by that statement.
They can only get a maximum of 4 now, and it would be against Buffalo and Philly. So, that being said, and this is also coming off of a very busy March. Very busy February and not light March. And the remaining March games are Buffalo, Rangers, Florida, and then at Philly, at Ottawa. Do you see
Man.
them getting 8 points this time around?
Can you read it again?
At Buffalo tonight,
They should win.
2 days off, and then they
No,
host.
they're not gonna win against Buffalo. Are you kidding me? Do we ever win in Buffalo?
They should beat this team, man.
Man, we should have beat Ottawa.
Yeah, I know.
2 days off.
We're not gonna beat Buffalo tonight.
I think they can beat Buffalo tonight.
2 days off.
Call me a stupid optimistic Leafs fan.
Yeah, that's exactly what you are.
Yeah, I know.
You sound like
At
if
least
I
I'm-
thought the Ottawa was going to beat Toronto on Saturday. Anyway, 2 days off,
Suck my dick, Marshall.
and then they host the Rangers.
With all due respect,
With all due respect, if Lundqvist plays, we'll win the game.
we
Never thought I'd say that sentence in the
I
way
say it
is.
every time when they play the Rangers.
If
And then-
Georgiev plays, we're not going to score a goal. But if Lundqvist plays, we will.
And then they have a day off.
56 save shutout.
Then they have a day off, and then they host Florida.
They should beat Florida.
And then
Whoa,
day
Barkov,
off.
underrated.
Marner, Tavares.
Whoa,
Not,
Huberdeau.
Marner and Tavares are not
Matthews.
Whoa,
underrated.
James Reimer, bro.
Oh shit, James Reimer.
Oh, you're SOL now. And then another day off, and then you're in Philly.
They should beat Philly.
You already won
man.
that
They
game.
should beat Philly.
2 days off. You're back in the Dragon's Den that is Ottawa.
That is a statement game.
That is a statement.
That is a statement game.
No-
They cannot go back into that
Declan,
building and get
I
embarrassed
will
the way
say,
they did.
Why not?
If it's
'Cause
only
it will, K. I'm saying just to be like
We
kind
can't
of
beat
the last-
Ottawa, but they shouldn't.
It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't matter. If we go into that building and we get spanked, we're still going to the playoffs. They're not. It doesn't matter.
They also don't have their pick.
Exactly. So I don't care.
I-
As much as Marshall's like, hey, we beat you 6-2. Standings, bitch.
misery loves company, and I'll see you when you guys host the cup. All I'm
Well,
saying
I guess
is
I won't see you ever.
okay. Then. That's my point.
I just think that it's been a history. It's been a legacy that no team that has limped into the playoffs has done well. No team that has limped into the playoffs has lifted the cup. And I know that may not be the goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs at the end of the year,
think
but
we're
it
limping.
speaks. This
you
isn't
sure?
limping.
You sure as shit ain't running?
Man, we still got 91 points on our season right now.
Yeah, but
We still have 9 games left.
What did you say before the podcast about Tampa?
They're going to win the cup.
Okay,
Okay, but like that's because Tampa's amazing, not because the Leafs are trash.
exactly. They're not limp. If Toronto was playing the way they should be, they wouldn't be limping in. They
Yeah,
would
If
be
Toronto's
like,
playing the way they should be, I still think Tampa would win the cup.
yeah, but those two things can be true. The Leafs are limping into the playoffs. The Leafs are an amputee limping into the playoffs.
Okay.
well, not. I will say right now, but they still have like 9 games.
9
left.
games left.
So if they win the majority, you're already looking better.
Yes, no, 100%. They need. What I'm saying is they need
5
to
of
improve.
9.
They need to improve their form.
At least.
Or
Yeah,
6 of 9.
At least
Ideally-
5 of 9.
Ideally 6 of 9.
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, I think
They
if
need a very nice
I think if
record.
they win 6 of 9, then they will. They'll
Go
be
past the
fine.
first
They
round?
need to find a way to. They need
Do you
to,
think if they don't win 6 of 9, they won't beat Boston?
Nice.
But if they do win 6 of 9, they will beat Boston. What are your?
I just
What
think
are your
that it's
thoughts on
important.
that?
I just think that it's
Well, what,
important to
them winning
go
6 of 9?
into the playoffs on a winning note.
The last
I
two,
think that like
the last
I
two
think it's
games-
important to carry momentum into the playoffs and to help with the momentum as you go in. Like I said, no team with a losing record in the last 9 games of the season has ever gone on to lift the Stanley Cup. I think it's important the way that you go into the
The
way
only-
that you go into the playoffs.
in the last 9 games.
That's just my point.
The last 9 games, only 2 of them are against guaranteed playoff teams. One of them's Tampa.
We're gonna lose that game. Actually, like they're
No,
probably gonna
you're
rest
hosting.
like half their guys.
Your host, no,
they're
not-
literally
no.
President's Trophy.
They
Like
already talked that Cooper's not doing.
They're not resting anybody?
No,
Which
they
is
they might
stupid.
they might.
I
on-
would rest
they-
one of the guys
on
each
a-
game.
on
One of
a-
their top guys
on a
each game.
back to back. They might, but they're especially not with the goal with Vasilevsky.
I wouldn't.
They're
rest
not.
Vasi.
They're doing regular schedule for him, and unless there's like basically if something's bad, if there's an injury, they're not going to. They're going to rest him. But if there's nothing wrong with the guy, they're not going to sit him. Is what he said. So unless there's an injury that can be
If I was
healed,
Stammer, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sick today."
feeling a little under the weather, Cooper.
If I was Cooch, I wouldn't because I have so many points. I want to get as many points as I can. I'd play all 82
What's he at right
games.
now?
117 or something.
A stupid amount.
It's not a stupid amount. It's just an amount we haven't seen in a long
It's a
time.
stupid
In a
amount.
long time.
In a long, long time.
A long, long, long time.
A long, 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 long time.
Speaking of that, we're talking about Toronto for a long time.
And
You're
I think
a
we've
long time.
and I think we've been talking ourselves in circles. Honestly, at the end of the day, us here, we don't have the solution. I think that the solution rests at the feet of Babcock and it rests at the feet of Kyle Dubas.
I think it's mostly on Babcock because Kyle Dubas really can't do anything. Babcock just needs to like stop icing trash teams and like be like, guys, stop being trash.
I think Babcock doesn't exactly like his roster composition too.
What
I think
makes you say that?
Well, the quote that came out
Yeah.
after the Muzzin trade that he's going to have to work. I'll find the exact quote. It was in 31
Well, he
thoughts.
said he said
It was in 31 thoughts today.
he had another quote that came out about on the Monday when they had the full day practice, and it was like, "What you're supposed to have a good team of depth, and like you're supposed to get that."
What I read earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like he's talking to Dubas there, like you are, like you,
Yeah, I think it's-
Kyle.
We do, but like Babcock needs to play those guys to keep them good.
I think it's very clear that that Mike Babcock is not happy with his roster composition, and I think there's some fracture there. I say this without knowing anything, but
They
I mean
lose to
everything
Boston?
that he says, in interviews and stuff, it just signals to me that there's a fissure there. And I mean, they're two guys who believe the game to be played in very, very different ways. I think.
It might be a fissure, but if they win the first round, the fissure's gone.
Oh yeah,
if
100%.
they lose to Boston, Mike Babcock might be gone.
no,
I can't. see
no,
that.
no.
I can't see if they just lose to Boston. I think they need to get swept, and we're not in a single game.
Yeah. Then the
I think if
conversation
they get
happens, but he still's not
embarrassed-
fired. There's no way
Really?
he's
Oh,
fired.
I don't know. I would fire him. I would fire him if the Leafs got swept. There is no growth.
I think you need to have a serious conversation, but I don't think you fire him.
Man, we went to 7 games last year. If we don't go to 7 games at least if we don't win this year, there's no growth.
They need to be they basically.
And our guys are a year older, and our roster is better
It's kind
this
of
year.
It's a weird thing to say, but if the Leafs basically, you guys don't think they're going to win, it's almost like Babcock hopes they get screwed over in like a rule way, so he can blame it on not blame on that, but like Babcock needs to have something to blame that's not him, essentially. And at this point, there's nothing really. Like you said, Dubas can't do anything at this point. It's all on Babcock.
It's all on Babcock. Dubas, like, the
And-
trade deadline's over.
And there's nothing now. It's a question of did he do enough? Well, see, the roster when healthy is a roster that I think, despite what you think, can beat Tampa, because in the playoffs anything can happen, and
Man,
they
I
can
think
win.
the roster now should be able to play with Tampa. Just
Um,
not beat them, play with them.
I think so too.
To play
actually.
with them,
We could go to 7 games, 6 or 7 games with Tampa, but I just don't see us
I just
beating
mean
that
like
team.
they look like a team that
Like
knows how to
Matthews
play
can
hockey.
go against Stamkos. Tavares can go against Stamkos. Like Mitch Marner, he's not on the level of Kucherov, obviously, but he can do crazy stuff like Kucherov can do. Like, we have a great team, but our D-core does not even touch Tampa's D-core.
No, I agree, and especially when hurt. But our
goalies,
well,
Domingue could be a starter on other teams.
This is the quote that Babcock said right after the Muzzin trade. It's not perfect. It's what we got. It's what was available, and we're gonna make it work. I think that they're and
because it's not a right-handed shot, and he wants a right-handed shot.
And Friedman spent his first little opening monologue about the relationship between Dubas and Babcock, and he ended it very, very ominously with a quote by Bill Parcells.
The football coach?
Yep. 5 days after taking the New England Patriots to the Super Bowl, a 35-21 loss to the Green Bay Packers, he left the organization uttering the famous line, "If they want you to cook the dinner, at least they ought to let you shop for the groceries." And I think that Babcock would like to go out and do some shopping, and Dubas is the one that's holding the wallet.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like...
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing to say that's wrong with that.
You're right.
Yeah, and I
the
think
GM does hold the wallet.
And I think that there's a fissure there.
Actually, whoa. MLS holds the wallet. Kyle Dubas just
the one
uses
that gets the
it.
shop.
Kyle Dubas just has the pin.
It's like the credit card that it's like your
but
parents' credit card that you.
But
can
the credit
use.
card is in Shanahan's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Dubas is the older brother, and Babcock is your younger brother that wants
that
wants
the
that
candy
bag of
bars
chips.
at the store.
Yep.
And then you're like, Mom gave me a 20. It's like I'm getting all this stuff, and like you can have a Reese's cup.
Except the Reese's cup is Ron Hainsey, and Ron Hainsey plays, unfortunately, 24 minutes a night. I think we're just talking ourselves in circles here, boys. Do you want to move on?
What Atlantic team do you want to talk about next?
Well,
let's move on to Tampa.
Okay.
A couple of big things have happened this week for Tampa. They clinched the President's Trophy.
Man, that's ridiculous.
To
With 10
nobody's
games
surprise.
With 10 games left in the season for everybody, they're like, oh, we
I
clinched
kind of
it.
like Cooper's response too. Like, be happy about that. It's cool. It's a trophy. It's not nothing to be like other teams don't said that we don't care, but it's not bad to say, yeah,
We won the President's Trophy.
we're the
but
best.
it is-
They're by far the best team in the league.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
If you're clinching it with 9-10 games left, you are by far for sure.
100%. And Stamkos scored career goal number 384 to pass Vincent Lecavalier for top goal scorer as a Tampa Bay Lightning.
I met that
Stamkos
guy.
did this in 737 games. It took Lecavalier 1,037 games. I'm sorry.
Today, Junior. Okay, sorry.
Just
I
incredible.
can't chirp because I flub my words all the
I
time.
met that guy though, Vincent Lecavalier. Just saying, like, not to brag or anything, but like an F1 race, like I met him. He's like super tall
Well, bro.
and he's cool.
Well, bro.
I was like 10, but like,
Cool story, bro.
Well,
just saying, I met him. So if you're listening to the pod, what up, Lecavalier? We'd love to have you on.
I don't think I've ever met a single NHL player.
I saw Brady
Hey,
Tkachuk.
you met yourself, Brady Tkachuk. Look in the mirror.
What do you mean? Does your team not count? I know the Sens are bad, but
Look,
They're not actually an ECHL.
I said
team.
NHL, not AHL.
That was also my joke with that. They're not actually an ECHL team, but no one cared about my joke.
All I'm
Fuck you,
saying,
Marshall.
do you know that there's only 4 players didn't get a point against Toronto? I'm bringing this up because it's the only thing I got this entire season. You gotta let me have it.
Okay,
just go. Just go.
Kachuk, Pajot, Ryan, and Yaros.
Are those the 4 people that don't have a point on Ottawa against Toronto?
Yeah, that means you let AHL players score against you.
Meh, that's what I'm okay with
Okay.
that.
Good, we can buy the
You
Tampa.
scored
now.
an AHL goalie.
This is the only thing I got for me. So you gotta let me have it. But Tampa, they're pretty good, eh?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty
Okay,
good.
Marshall. It's not gonna be okay. Your team sucks.
I know. By 2021, Eugene will have to sell a team. Sorry, Mr. Melnick.
Asshole.
Yes.
In the West, the playoff picture is becoming a little bit clear. The Sharks clinched last night. The Flames did it the night before.
Well, that's not surprising.
2 very good teams out there in the West. I think Calgary has a chance to go
The Flames are hot.
very, very far if they can
I see what
get
you did there.
Yeah, okay.
if they can get
there we go.
if David
Shut up,
Gri-
producer Seb.
if Big Save Dave could stay pretty hot, I think that the Flames might be able to go a very long way.
Dave. I like that. That's good.
I did not come up with that. That's a thing.
Oh.
I would take credit for it if I did, but
I'm trying to think of something with Riddick.
it doesn't
He's
work.
ridiculous.
Okay.
Come on, that was pretty good. I just thought of that right now.
Is there a team in a playoff spot right now that you do not think will make it? Wild card in the East, Carolina, Columbus. Wild card in the West, Dallas, Arizona.
I said it before. I don't think St. Louis is going to make the playoffs.
Dallas.
Okay, well, St. Louis is currently
In a division
way
spot.
up. They have like 7 points in hand.
Do they?
Yeah, they have.
L.
Okay, I might be wrong.
L.
St.
But I don't think
St.
they
Louis has 84.
Here.
Minnesota's out, and they're at 77. So yeah, they're sitting pretty right now. I'd say.
I hope Arizona makes it.
I do too.
Yeah, they're a fun team to go watch. I
Yep.
really hope they do.
Well, like, if they had fans, they'd be fun to watch.
I went there against Montreal. They were good. There was a lot of fans there.
There is a number of diehard Coyotes fans.
Like 24?
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Hey, at least they're not Florida.
It's a baker's dozen of
At
them.
least they're
Yeah.
not Florida.
And LA became the second team officially eliminated.
At least
this
we're not
week.
Detroit.
At least we're not Detroit. We're not Detroit.
And Detroit and New Jersey have followed suit.
Sorry, guys.
And you think Columbus and Carolina are in?
Yeah.
Man,
Montreal.
Columbus should be in.
Carey Price can steal a game, and that's all they. That could all be the difference. One game.
I know, but Columbus is a better team. And Bobrovsky could also steal a game.
Also, while we're on the topic of Carolina, there's goal celebration a couple of nights ago. Special ode to producer Seb. The curling celebration. They sucked though. They didn't even get anywhere close to
Also, shout out to the Ravens men's curling team who won nationals.
It's actually a great story. He only started curling 6 years ago, and it's the first time that Carleton University has ever won curling gold at nationals.
Man, that just reminded me of something weird. I watched a music video yesterday. You know, oh my God, he's a country singer. Hold
Florida
on.
Georgia Line.
No. He's a
That-
single guy.
that's-
It's a single guy.
Brett Ruskin.
Hold on.
Brett
I have some of his music.
Darius Rucker, Jason Aldean, Tim McGraw, Tim Hicks.
Luke Combs.
Yep, he's
Okay.
a guy.
Luke Combs. Apparently, he didn't start playing guitar till he was 21.
Yeah.
So like, it gives me hope, bro. Maybe I can be a country singer.
You got 2 years. Learn quick.
Well, if I start now, then I got a 2-year advance.
Oh yeah, you're way ahead of them. Did you see Carolina's celebration last night?
Duck hunting? Yeah,
Duck
I
hunting.
thought it was
Funny.
great.
That was great.
We had the conversation
You're a
about
bunch of jerks.
we had the conversation yesterday about where you think they come up with. Do you think that they have
A team?
specific
Yeah.
guys that come up with it? Because how do I find myself on that?
I think it's just a group
wait,
effort.
If Tom Dundon,
yeah.
Tom Dundon, if you are watching, debarp14@gmail.com, hit me up. I would love to work on that staff.
Yeah,
you
also
know what?
me, Ian.blumenthal@outlook.com. Professional.
I'm not getting out my email. As good as Carolina's was, you have to admit, Brown Marchand overtime. That was a pretty good celebration.
Man, that was so
considering.
That was sick.
The man
I
lives
love
in
Brad
the house.
Marchand. I used to hate the guy 2 years ago when he would like licked people and he got so many suspensions slew footing. I was like, this is the worst guy ever. And then he went to the All-Star game and posed for that photo when it was like, we got to exterminate the rat. And it was like, there was like a sign. It was super funny. And he posed and he was like,
I have
thumbs
a,
up with them.
My,
I was like, I love this guy. His Instagram, prime follow.
I have a bet that I'm a little worried about right now. Just a simple $5 bet with a family friend. He's the biggest Boston fan there is. We made a bet that I think Brown Marchand will be suspended in the regular season, and
And
I'm a
he
little.
hasn't.
He has not, and he probably won't because it's close enough that he won't probably
anything stupid.
do anything stupid.
My
So I'm gonna bet to out $5.
That's upsetting.
Ah.
My friend Antonio, he met Brad Marchand in Italy this summer. Yeah, it's strange, right?
Weird.
He asked what he walked up to him and said is, Brad, when we take this picture, can you please not lick me? And I thought
No
it was so
way.
funny.
What
On
did
God,
Brad like?
on
Did
God,
Brad laugh?
he died.
That's
it was so funny.
Like that's a good way to do it.
He's at the point where he's old enough that he just laughs himself, and that's when he's no longer like an asshole. He's just funny.
The
No,
Bruins
like, yeah.
also had Conor McGregor the other night, and I mean,
Yeah,
that's why that was a celebration.
But
that's why.
when
While we're talking about
McGregor dropped the puck, did you see
That
what
was
he-
amazing.
Did you see what he said?
Said,
He
"Good
said,
luck."
"Good luck" to Boone Jenner, and then he leans into Char and goes, "Put him through the fucking net."
That's
And I guess
so
Boone,
classic Conor
Boone loved
McGregor.
it too.
I
Yeah, Boone was about
And then
it.
I thought
Connor
it
went
was
through
so
a lineup
funny.
fist bumping all the players, getting them
Man,
hyped.
it
Can
was
we
cr-
just
it was
admit the
kinda
Boston Bruins are
cringy.
fun?
It was kind of cringy in the dressing room.
Yeah, that was a little
But
weird.
and he was standing on the Bruins logo. You don't stand on the logo.
He clearly never watched Goon.
But
Is-
no,
is
he's
any-
cle-
is
no,
any-
he's clearly just never watched hockey. He doesn't even know what's going on.
Is anybody
He's like,
gonna-
Let's fucking go?
Is anybody going to tell Conor McGregor to move though?
Yeah, right. Well, like Chara.
Chara,
Chara-
maybe, but like
Man,
anyone else.
Chara versus McGregor. Chara wins that fight.
Also, speaking about fighting, did you
Maybe
guys
on
see
skates.
Matt Martin?
Did you guys see him chuck Knox with Matt Martin?
Yo, he got
Listen.
one huge hit on Martin. It was so high. It was so high.
Listen. Analytically, my smart brain is like, let's not have fighting in the game. It's not good for people's heads. And
Yeah.
then they do it, and I lose my mind.
Look,
So
I'm
fun
gonna
to
say
watch.
is Ottawa's franchise is so bad that the highlight of the entire franchise is Chara ragdolling Brian McCabe. That is the greatest thing that's ever happened to Ottawa. Is Chara just picking him up with one hand, just tossing him
That was
around.
so funny.
That's the best we had, and then we decided to keep Wade Redden instead of Chara. So
Yeah, but man,
fuck
Chara
me.
and Matt Martin like was trying so hard to get.
I
his
can
arm-
respect to him,
But he's just like with Chara's arm that was just
Yeah.
out here. Like it's just too long,
Like, the
man.
only-
and all he had to do was just bop, bop.
The only- there's
Did
only-
you see how Chara won the fight? He just kind of put his face in the ground.
there's only
went,
there's only 3 guys who could ever fight Chara: Ryan Reeves, Tom Wilson, and John Scott.
Not Tom Wilson. I don't think Tom Wilson can actually fight him.
I think
He's too
Tom Wilson.
small.
Well, okay,
I think Tom Wilson is just a pest.
Matt Martin would beat the shit out of Tom Wilson.
Yep. Tom
Okay,
Wilson just lays
well-
dirty hits.
And he has the same amount of goals as Malkin. So fun fact.
fun facts here on a real good Procast.
Fun fact.
Just some quick hits before we do get to trivia. GTHL season wrapped up with the OHL Cup. I'm not sure about if
I
you guys
watched
have heard,
about
but
5 minutes of that.
it was actually quite a good game. It was back and forth. The Don Mills Flyers emerged victorious in that one. It is Sean.
Oh wait, I saw the end of it.
Sean. It was Sean Wright's team, the kid who got accepted. Who got granted
15-year-old?
exceptional status into the OHL. He'll be drafted next year. He not quite a factor in that game. He got hit from behind, but class organization is the GTHL. I know a couple of people there. I've spent a couple of summers there, and I have only good things to say about that organization. Let's move on to university sports. UNB, the University of New Brunswick Reds won nationals after dominating the whole season. They were the best team in the AUS. Good to them. One of their players actually got signed by the Calgary Flames. I can't remember his name at the moment, but good to see that Canadian university sports being recognized like that, and good job to UNB.
When I was in Queens this weekend, my buddies were telling me that their friend from high school just signed like an entry-level deal with Vancouver. I forget who it was. Like, if we look at the transactions, I could probably just be like, oh, it's that guy, because they don't sign that many entry-level deals.
Did he play this year?
I don't think he just signed an entry-level deal recently.
Yeah, but was he on Queens? Also, Queens lifted.
No, not on Queens. But
Oh,
like
okay.
but I was just talking like when I was at Queens, like my buddies told me like their guy from high school they know. I think he might have gone to Princeton. Like I met this guy at a party back in grade 12 and like he had gotten a scholarship to Princeton and he was ranked like 70th overall by like NHL scouting for his draft year. So I was like, damn, this is super cool. And I was friends with him for the night and then I didn't talk to him ever again.
Oh, so like me and Zaid, my panda best friend.
Except like you talk to him once a year, right? I only talk to this guy once ever.
But I just want to say my little piece on U Sports. For the past 2 years, I've had the great pleasure of working with the University of Ottawa GGs, doing some play-by-play, and it's been some of the best hockey I've ever watched live. It's one of the most underrated sports leagues, I think, in this country, and I think that it's the next big thing. Anyways, that's my piece. I think the way it's covered is horrible, but that's many factors.
All right. Do you want to do shootout, poll, or neither?
Let's do poll, and then we'll
I'll
jump
say
to
we
trivia.
can do shootout later. Poll's kind of
Yeah.
today.
We'll save the shootout for the off season.
Yeah. That's
So
a good one.
poll, NHL players poll, about 500 or so players were polled about different things and some highlights. Best defenseman was Victor Hedman, as we went in the North.
Hold on, wait. Can I guess? Because I don't remember. Like I
All
read
right.
them earlier, but I don't remember.
Who do players think have the best shot?
Oh, it's obviously Ovi.
By how much?
50 point something.
It's not.
Yeah.
Is it?
Over 50.
The next is what? Weber?
Yeah, the next was Weber. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Okay, so who's
And
the
then
most
line A.
underrated player?
Barkov.
Who
Backstrom
is the
followed.
most difficult to play against?
McDavid.
McDavid.
And also, I think it's important to note they all chose skill players as most difficult players to play against, not tough players.
Obviously.
And I'm surprised about this. In the who would you start a franchise with?
McDavid.
Fourth place was Patrice Bergeron. He's a little old to start a franchise with.
No, but I don't think now. I'm thinking that you're saying like which player would you pick from
Well,
their
I
like
think
at
I
the draft year?
no, I think it's now because McDavid's 60 and Crosby's only 18.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
they're
still,
thinking-
I would rather
they're
start a
thinking
franchise
age.
around McDavid than Crosby.
Crosby.
Why? Because he's won 3 cups. So is okay, buddy.
Okay, so who was the best trash talker? Brad
Brad
Marchand.
Brad Marchand.
Who was the worst trash talker?
Brad Marchand.
Marchand.
Interesting enough, I think Nick Cousins shows up on both of those lists too.
Who?
Nick Cousins.
Nick Cousins is
Keith
fourth on
Yandle's
worst.
on the best
and
one.
yeah,
I think.
Nick Cousins also on both.
Yep.
Best TV analyst would be PK
PK.
Subban,
Followed by Keith Yandle. He did a great job at the All-Star game this year. I think Keith Yandle's a funny
Keith is
guy.
one of the funniest guys. Apparently, what's it called? I just heard this. That one of the guys on Florida just like he played like 20-something games and he just scored his first goal and everyone was selling super hard like yeah, and he was like super fired up because he just scored his first goal, and then Yans came up to the pile and he was apparently like buddy, like they're gonna overturn for offside, and like the guy's soul was crushed, and then he was like, nah, I'm just fucking with you, bro. I just think that's super funny. Like
Honestly, if
good.
I could meet anyone right now, like anyone from the league, I think Keith Yandle would be up there. I think he's a great guy. I really.
Brad
wanna meet him.
Marchand would be my number one.
Oh, yeah.
I just think it'd be so funny.
Brent-
Would you ask him not to lick you?
Brent Burns.
No, because it's already been used. I do something else. I'd be like, please don't slew foot.
Under who would make the best NHL GM once retired?
Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, but two names that
Spezza.
popped out. I found Spezza was second, and Mark Scheifele was fourth. He's been called very smart by.
Mark freaking Scheifele.
He is a
Scheifele.
student of the game, as they say.
I can
All
see
of
that.
them are stupid.
Funniest player was Keith Yandle.
Stupidest comment.
Uh,
Stupidest phrase in hockey.
That's what Pierre LeBrun said. The best current female hockey player is 2 clear runaways: Hilary
It's-
Knight and Marie
pass.
Philippe Poulin.
Yeah.
And would you be in favor of a regular season game featuring nicknames on jerseys?
I like that.
That'd be so
Two
fun.
I
out
like
of-
that. I'd
two
buy a
out of
Mango
3
jersey.
players say yes.
Like yes, but then some people like won't have nicknames.
Well, I know. It's something that Down Goes Brown has been very vocal about. Hockey nicknames have gone down the trash. It's always just like
It's just like
Yanzi.
Riles. Yeah.
Riles. I want
Tuna's a good one.
the best.
The Tatar.
Yeah, the best part about the '80s was definitely the nicknames.
I do admit though, McJesus is I like
It's a
that.
good-
I like
I like that.
McGarlick, who is Garland out in.
Yeah, like if you can use a
out in
part of the
Arizona.
name, that's good. So Montreal is listed second and first under best rink to play in and best ice to play on. So good job to
Didn't
that
Vegas get first on
Vegas
crew.
got
for
first?
best
first.
for best,
Best
rink.
atmosphere.
Yeah,
Oh,
atmosphere.
okay.
Which I
I don't. No way.
Well, that's
do you
also the
mean?
experience of being in Vegas.
It's being in Vegas, but I think that the atmosphere in Vegas, yes, it's cool, but like I think it's gonna wear off. I
Those
think
are
they-
what it always does.
Vegas is great fans though. They like their fans are.
just because they're a good team. If they
Also-
weren't a good team, I think their fans would be trash.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Seattle.
The Leafs still have
Good luck to
fans when they're
Seattle.
trash.
the Leafs have suits when they're trash.
The Leafs still have suits when they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Leafs are the bad. Leafs fans
More suits when
only
they're
I was gonna
good.
exist
say more
in
suits, 'cause
in other arenas.
They have more suits when they're good because then the fans are outside watching the game on the big screen.
Yep.
By far, best mascot is Gritty. Second place was
100%.
Carlton the Bear.
Carlton.
However,
just
I'm
because I'm a
happy.
Leafs fan. What about
Yuppie? Yuppie was third.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say Yuppie's jokes.
Yuppie's awesome.
I mean, Yuppie and Gritty are the same person. Call back to first episode.
Is it NHL mascots?
Yeah.
Specific. Okay, because I would say the other Philly, like the
Philly
what's his name?
Fanatic?
Yeah, Philly Fanatic.
well, the Gritty was based off
the Philly
the
Fanatic.
two, Yuppie and the Philly Fanatic.
That
The
makes
love
sense.
child
So who has the best hair?
in the league?
Carlson.
Is it Carlson or is
By
it Hank?
far, 18% to Carlson, 6 to Henrik, 5 to the other Carlson, William.
Oh, I see that.
Brent-
William is
nice
dirty
flow.
flow.
Brent
yeah.
Burns got 3.9. I think the
He has
beard
terrible
helps.
hair.
Burns,
It's just
he is
a lot.
gross. It's just
And
gross.
then 3.6 to Willie.
Willie has nice hair.
He
and then
he did.
Underrated hair, Kapanen.
So and these are the 5 best nicknames:
Not
Thomas
anymore.
Tuna Tatar,
We chopped it.
Artemi
Artemi Breadman Panarin. I
I like that one.
love Artemi Panarin.
Marco Snacks Dano,
Oh, that's a good one.
Christian Stinky Fisher, and my favorite Connor McJesus McDavid. Yeah, I think the McDavid's kind of just McJesus. You know.
He is because he's the next. He's the next coming.
And I think my favorite part of this
So when's
poll
the Rapture coming?
is that
Is that what's going on in Edmonton right now?
my
That's why they don't have
favorite
anybody there.
part about this poll is that NHL players just like the best athletes ever. Because in terms of 5 favorite athletes they follow, Tiger Woods, Roger Federer, LeBron James, Brady, Messi. Like, okay, just the best.
Wait, Brady Kachuk? No, I'm kidding.
And they like golf and football.
What an honor. They
And
really
soccer.
like
Well,
golf.
everyone loves golf because everyone plays golf on the off season. Mostly Ottawa Senators players because they don't go to the off season. They don't go to the postseason. I mean.
When I was at the
You,
game,
you almost took that landing, but I'll give it to you.
Man, if I landed it well,
Yeah.
it would have been perfect.
Would have been better.
when I was at the game, last weekend, there was a Sens fan sitting a couple of rows in front of me, and we were giving it back and forth to each other. It was pretty funny. He was a good guy.
Declan, you are that guy to do that, but please go ahead.
Okay, continue.
No, after they scored because my whole section was Leafs fans and we were being pretty loud.
What? Toronto fans in Ottawa?
He turned around and was beacon.
You would sell out your arena if you opened the seats that you closed.
But
You did open them.
But after the
Yeah.
they opened them back up. But after the first one, I was practicing my golf swing. I was like, you should take some tips right here.
I mean,
It's a
all
pretty solid-
I'm
that's a pretty
saying is
solid
that
tip, not gonna lie.
Thanks, buddy.
yeah, you know, all I'm saying is that we'll be ahead of you in the golf game, and you guys get knocked down in the first round. That's
Damn, true.
what I got for that. All right,
Is
let's.
that what Babs is trying to do? He's
At
trying
least
to
we'll
win the
make
more
it in the
important.
first round.
He's trying to win the more important trophy, the off-season golf tournament.
Oh.
All right, Declan. Let's see how you can. That's okay. I'll rephrase
Can you
this.
stump me on this
Let's see
trivia?
if Ian can beat me again.
It's
Because
been 2 times in a row I beat
I
you.
haven't won this like since January. It's been bad.
Yeah, it's been a cold stretch, almost as cold as the Leafs.
Okay. Yeah,
Why would you bring it to that, man?
I was gonna say that's my joke to make, not yours.
Like, bro, man, that's our team.
I know. It's gallows humor, buddy. It got me through the first 13 years of being a Leafs fan.
Misery loves company.
So I was born in Laval, Quebec, July 18th, 1975.
Lindros.
Guy Lafleur.
He played in
Oh,
75.
man, no. I went.
That's okay. I won't judge you.
I went.
I'll judge
wrong
you.
era. That's my bad.
I went undrafted and am one of the best NHL players ever to do so.
St. Louis.
Yep.
Oh,
It was
get
Martin St. Louis.
I only know that because Ottawa have a guy that's now undrafted, and they were comparing him to St. Louis in the sense that that's the best story that ever happened for an undrafted player. So
My
thank
next
you, TSN
stint
1200.
was,
Did he play for a university or did he
in the
just,
States.
Yeah, college. He did the same thing. He was Verno. He wrote to them and basically clawed his way in.
Probably the best undrafted player.
Yeah, he
ever.
is. That's why they brought. Yeah, he is. I would say
I think him or
in the modern era, of course.
who else is
Bo-
undrafted?
Bozak won undrafted. He
No, I know, but there's someone else who's like better than Bozak. Bozak's like good, but he's not.
also,
like,
Tyler Bozak's birthday is today.
Really?
Happy birthday, Tyler.
happy birthday. What about your son Cannon?
I don't know when Cannon is, but a
I
great
don't know,
name.
but like it's a sick name.
Uh,
And
Molly-
also, your
Molly-
wife is hot.
Molly Bozak.
All
Molly
right.
Bozak actually tweeted, "You're welcome for your presents," and it was just a picture of Cannon and what's his daughter's name? Lily, something like
I
that.
don't remember.
Okay, what were your other 5 hints? Because you really
Um,
didn't have faith in us. Jeez, you have 7 hints.
Well, I went pretty vague. I didn't know if you guys were gonna get it. I've played for 3 NHL teams: Calgary, Tampa Bay, New York, the Rangers. I scored the game winning goal in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals against the Calgary Flames to push it
I
to Game
probably
7.
could have.
I don't know if I would.
One of us would have guessed the caveat, and the other one would have guessed St. Louis, and we would have got it by then. I'd say.
In
So, only
2003-4,
person's Brad
I won the
Richards.
Art Ross, Lester B. Pearson, the old Ted Lindsay, the Hart, and the Bud Light Plus Minus Award.
Again, we're on Tampa by now.
Was that
so
what
we
it was
should get
called?
it. The what?
The plus,
It's
it
not
was
a
the
thing
plus
anymore.
minus award. No, it's not a thing. And then my last
Yeesh.
hint, which if we got here, I would have been shocked. I was left off the 2010 Winter
Yeah.
Olympic team.
No. Once we would have narrowed down to Tampa, we would have got because it's only like Cavier, St. Louis, Richards. After that, he wouldn't have put anyone else. Otherwise, he would have been an asshole, like usual.
I mean, it's just the huge boys.
the huge.
Back on top.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm still ahead of you, buddy.
Are you?
Yeah.
I thought we're tied.
Maybe
Marshall,
not
you got to
tied.
keep score, buddy.
I'll
Yeah, you're keeping
find.
score.
I'll find my notebook that I lost.
Do you
then-
lose it? Oh, that's why you don't have it anymore.
Yeah, it's either it's somewhere in one of my 2 rooms, and I don't know where. So maybe I'll find it tonight.
Okay, I
it's
was
not gonna happen.
Let's hope the Leafs can find their play
I
back
really hope
tonight.
this is
though.
not
They
in my
play-
other room.
They play
Buffalo.
They played Buffalo, the Battle of the QEW. I think my buddy Matt is gonna be there. He was trying to find a friend to drive down, and I told him I was not
Like
leaving
Leafs
Ottawa.
Matt?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Leafs Matt, like Matt Diabru. Great guy.
Great
You
guy.
should.
Takes good pictures.
He does take good pictures. Check him out on Twitter. I want to give him a shout out, and then we can get going.
And Ottawa is in Vancouver.
Fuck you, Seb.
Yes, you always get shout outs.
Because you don't get a shout out because you don't shout out the pod.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Do you shout out the pod?
Yeah.
Follow. You guys should go follow Matt on Twitter. He takes some beautiful photos. At Matt Diabreu. Matt MattDeabreu. Matt Diabreu. Go follow him. Great guy.
But don't follow Seb.
Yeah, don't follow Seb.
Matt, where's our sponsorship money?
Matt, send the check.
Just send it on over. Then I will give out my email if there's money involved.
Okay, guys. Why don't we call this a show? This has been a testing one. I don't know how much we stayed on the rails, but it's been a painful one.
I liked it.
I think
I hate you, Marshall.
I liked it.
I'm gonna
It was-
smack you.
It was fun.
I think I needed this show for my mental health. It's
For-
been
Is
a long
that
week.
Syracuse? I honestly
Catholic-
don't.
It is
Yes.
Syracuse.
Okay.
They're gonna win the first game, and then I'm guessing Gonzaga will beat them.
Gonzaga will beat them.
Really quick to end it. March Madness predictions.
Duke.
Gonzaga.
No one's beating Duke. Shut up,
You-
Seb.
you-
No one
you-
wants your opinion.
UNC might
Why don't
beat
you think
Duke.
you?
Okay,
Why
I
do you
can see
not
it.
think you have a mic, buddy?
No, but
We don't want your opinion.
But RJ Barrett is like so underrated. He
love
was
you,
named
Seb.
Oh, he's
USA.
amazing.
He was
USA
named
Today.
USA's like Player of the Year.
Yeah, amazingly
Or,
underrated.
Yeah.
Just do it, Seb. We're done.
Cool. Okay.
I think we're done, guys. Have a good night.
Follow your hosts on Twitter at DeBart14, at Ian_Blumenthal, and at Marshall Healy. Don't forget to follow the podcast at Real Good Procast.